Yes, welcome back to the South Australian Sports Show. Let's have a look at what's been happening in the SANFL. And there's been a lot said in the last few weeks, whether the crowds are falling away, what they do to change that. We thought we'd go to one of the men that spent a bit of time in the SANFL, played 157 games. Sturt captained them. Captain at North Adelaide, played 23 games with Melbourne in the VFL. AFL we talk about Jay Viney. Jay, thanks for your time.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Now, mate, I'm pumping up your tyres, so we need something really good from it.
Yeah.
Mate, let's talk about the AFL, VFL first for you. I mean, 19 years old, make your trek over the border, play your first game. What can you recall from your first game?
Oh, mate, it was against the West Coast Eagles, and at that time they were a very strong team, it was the big trip across the west to Perth, and they gave us a hiding. They were just too big and too dominant at that period of their. I think they won the flag that year, so that was a real experience, it was an absolute pleasure to be there. But it was frightening at the same time. I was 20, I think I was 20, and they were just big, strong men.
Yeah, but you're a big kid as well when you even started playing. So to go across there and say that they were just big and strong and tougher, how did that intimidate you with your kind of physique that you had to start with?
Oh, I was just used to being the big boy amongst in the schoolyard. Yeah. And now all of a sudden I'm playing against big, strong men. You know, guys back in those days were still playing in their 30s.
Yeah.
And they were big and angry. And they don't.
Bigger angry men.
Yeah. So they weren't frightened to throw their way around. And they were at the top side that year, and they were dominant. They were physically dominant.
We see it in the AFL now. A lot of talk about you need to play at least 50 AFL games before physically and the speed of the game and you're ready to go. I mean, if you were talking to a young kid now about to embark into the AFL, what advice would you give him?
Our system is the best. You come through SANFL, and if you can play your 20 games as an 18-year-old before you go over, it's really going to help. Because that step from playing, I mean, they get drafted at 18 now, so that step from playing, school footy, under 18s where they're totally dominant, to then play league footy here in the SANFL where you're playing against men, and it's a very good competition. That is the best path. Then get into AFL. Yeah.
Well, like the last year that you were there, you played the last 11 games in a row, and you're probably a good example of how ruthless AFL footy is, because you're probably thinking that I've finally made it after bits and pieces for the couple of years. You play the last 11 games in a row, and then you get a tap on the shoulder.
Yeah, got dropped for the final, the first elimination final. And that happened 2 years in a row, actually. The year before I got played the last couple of games into the finals, and then a senior player was able to be picked because he come back from injury, and I got dropped for that one. And then that was probably the straw which broke McCampbell's back. At that point I realised, oh shit, I'm not really going too well here. Yep. So I did the pre-season the next year, had a few troubles with knee soreness, and then they divided the squad up into a senior group and like a reserves group, and I was feeling that I should be part of that reserves group. Yeah. Went up to the coach, who was John Northey at the time, and I said, I don't feel as if I should be in this team, in this reserves group. I should be in the senior group. Yeah. He didn't say much at the time.
Just a mental note.
Finding out. 2 weeks later.
I don't think you should be in either.
Go back to Adelaide.
Well, let's talk about your time in Adelaide in the SANFL, because it's changed. The landscape has changed enormously with the AFL coming in. Captain at Sturt. Yep. Captain at North. Yep. Were they similar roles as the captain?
No. The one at Sturt, I guess there's been so many coach changes over the period of time. When I got there, I was under Stephen Trigg, and before that they had about 3 coaches in 3 years or 4 years. So Stephen Trigg came in and he was fantastic. He would have been a great coach. I had him there for the 1 year. We didn't do that well in the first year. I wasn't captain. That was my first year back. I think we might have won 2 or 3 games, but we had a fantastic system in place. The North Adelaide system was run and give, and we had some tremendous players come back the same year as well. So we had quite a good team or list, and just needed a bit of time with Triggy. And then Sturt in their wisdom decided to, after that year, sack Triggy, and bring in Hayden Bunton, who got the sack from CB that year, and and that's when I came in and became captain as a new coach and new captain. So it was really tough understanding what Hayden wanted to do. I mean, he was left of field, very, very left of field. So it changed our whole concept of how to play footy, and that confused the hell out of everybody. So in that year, a lot of players just didn't understand. A lot of senior players who came out from AFL just said, "What's going on here?" Yeah. And that really threw a curveball in. So we only made one game that year. Yeah. Which is, it's a long year when you win one game. Well,
you had that era, didn't you? There was about 6 wooden spoons in a row.
That's right.
And coach changes and Bunton that no one understood. Yeah. Then the merge talks, and I reckon that was when you probably thought, I've had enough.
Well, I had the second year under Hayden, and we was going backwards, and I was getting to that stage of my career where, I was 27, I suppose. Yeah. And it was time that this is awful. 2 winning games in 2 years. I had some offers from North Adelaide. We knew some people at North Adelaide, and I said, I'm going to go there and make a change. I was born and bred Sturt, so I lived there my whole life. So, and that was the best thing I ever did, was to get away from the club and make a fresh start at North Adelaide, and that was a lot of fun.
Who was coaching you there?
We started off with Darryl Hart. Yep. Across with Darryl Hart, and we played finals that year. And then Darryl went to the Crows. And then Michael Flynn came in. Flinny. We probably struggled for that 1 year. I think he only coached one year. We struggled, and then after that, Bo McDermott came in. Chris McDermott came in, and I was captain that year for 2 years under Chris.
Mate, normally there's a coach that, as a player, you like playing for. There's a connection that's made across the journey for you. You mentioned that Triggy was really good. Were there other coaches that you thought helped your game?
Yeah, Triggy and Darryl Hart. Yep. Exactly the same game plan, and they were great. Hardy was a tough. He was frightening. Yeah, he was a very strict coach, and this is our method, and do not move sideways from it. And if you did, you were told. I guess Trigger was probably not as brutal then as Hardy, but it was the same game plan. So.
Do you reckon that style of coaching could survive in the AFL now? I mean, as we grew up as kids, we were told whatever the coach says you go and do. Now the area is, well, I need to question that.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, I know my son, Harry, I mean...
He started at North.
He did, yeah, that's right. The old school coach who could yell and scream at you and then you want to go out there and prove him wrong. Yep. Get up your back and yell at you and, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. And go harder at the footy. Well, I think the kids these days, I think if you yell at them and give them a hard time, they go back in their shell. Yeah. Where I think back in our day, you get us angry and we go up and get it done. So.
Mate, you talk about your son, Harry. Father-son is always a difficult one. I mean, how do you two guys go when you're talking footy? Does he go, Dad, you know what you're talking about? And
exactly.
So, man, I'm just trying to help you here. Exactly. Anyone else could say the same thing and you go, that's great. Is that the case?
15 years of league footy, nothing.
Nothing. No. You've got nothing.
The water boy can tell him something in the club, he's spot on.
Is that frustrating? Is that frustrating for you?
Oh, it is. It is. At times it is, but you learn not to go too hard. You try and get in the back door and work him over differently. Yeah. But it's like if he knew what I knew, he'd probably be right. Yeah.
What about Jack, mate? You obviously followed Todd and Jack pretty.
Well, he's the opposite.
Closely. He's got to be the next captain of Melbourne, surely, wouldn't he? He's heading down that path.
I hope so. I mean, he's heading down that path. You don't want him to give him the title just too early. I think he still has to play a few more seasons yet. I mean, Nat Jones is going very well. Which is great for Jack. He's not going to be pushed in the role. And if that's where he ends up, I think it'll be great for the club and great for Jack and for Todd as well, Todd and Megan. But they're the opposite. I mean, Todd can give Jack some feedback, and I think Jack takes them on board pretty well. Yeah.
Mate, the SANFL, it's kind of waning pretty bad. I mean, you played in an era where it was talked about, it was the big crowds, it was a fun place to be. Can they save it, or is it in dire straits?
Yeah, it's certainly gone backwards since the Crows came in, hasn't it? Each year it's gone backwards. So I don't know what they can do. It's interesting. I mean, the powers to be need to work something out. I mean, I mean, smaller ovals, maybe. You know, Nord Oval is brilliant because you get 3,000-4,000 there.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good crowd.
And the Friday nights are pretty good fun.
Friday nights at Nord Oval have been brilliant. I
Yep.
mean, I'm sure the bays are the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, night footy is the key. You know, warmer nights, the key. But yeah, certainly needs numbers there, a bit more publicity. Would be good.
Yeah, I mean, I see Shipway came out and said that he doesn't think they should play Saturday afternoon footy anymore. And what you're saying makes sense. The night footy seems to draw a crowd, get away from that Saturday afternoon, and maybe the draw needs to be rejigged. It was a pretty ordinary draw this year, so hopefully good. Jay, really appreciate your time, mate, coming in, and hopefully you can get Harry to listen to you. I don't know what your chances. I don't know it's any different with daughters. I've got 3 of them. They don't listen to me. It's got nothing to do with sport. We need to get to a break. Stay with us. Plenty still to come.